Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So, before we went to the break, Mariam was going to...
Yeah, say something. No, you know what? While you were talking, I was smiling because this morning in the car on my way to work, there was a video of that Nima had put on her story by Mrs. Awoshika. And she was talking about how sometimes the no you're meant to say at a particular point, if you don't say it, it will bite you in the, yes, you go and meet it in front and you say it. And she was just talking about how she had a relative that used to work in her factory and was rude to her in front of all her other staff. And she knew she had to sack him. But her mother and her mother-in-law asked her not to sack him, and she kept him. And you know, she felt that that was a bad decision on herself and her business, because what it showed that to others is that she cannot be respected. You know, and so she was teaching people that, see, when it comes to, in the end, when your interest is important, what works, what pays you is what you should think about when it comes to it, because everyone is there for what pays them. So if you have a business and you find yourself in that sort of situation, make sure you are thinking about yourself. So when you were saying it, I just thought, you know, you're so right. But one of the things I feel calling out incompetence or inefficiency, why I will not put it on the employer 100% is at the time you are calling out the inefficiencies when you see it. Remember, the employee comes to you with a picture. You sit down with them, and I tell you that there are a lot of people, they know how to write the CVs. ChatGPT is helping a lot of people. They know how to write the CV. They know how to speak the English. They would speak it for you. They know the words, how to string them all together, but they don't have the experience. And until they have worked for you after a few times, and if you're a human being, a normal human being, you tend to also give people grace, you know, okay, this must be a mistake, this must be a mistake. Then after a while, then you understand. And sometimes these mistakes would have affected your business. So it's not necessarily that you held on to that person. You just held on to the idea of what you were sold. And then, but when you find out, you let the person go. But I was going to talk about this culture that I've noticed with Nigerian employers, and that I am the Oga big man of this place, and do as I do or everybody scatter, you know. Yesterday I was somewhere, and this particular business, don't want to mention the name of the business, and the person had put out an ad asking for a particular position to be filled. I was seated there when a person, in response to that ad, came in and said, I saw your ad, you said you're looking for, speak up! That's how the person answered, speak up! Oh my God. I felt like we're busy, you come back tomorrow or something. In my mind, I was like, if I'm the person and I'm not desperate, I'm not coming back. And this person I'm talking about, I know the person, I love the person, I respect the person, but that attitude was rubbish. Why? Because the person came to ask for a job? Why would you do that to another human being? That I'm asking for a job does not make me less than. That you're an employer and I'm an employee does not make me less than you. You know, I'm coming to give you my service, and I know that person needs that position to be filled. So, and you know, and it made me, I was sitting and thinking about it, because she's complained a lot about some of the employees. And I'm like, with this attitude, what do you expect? So we need to realize that times are changing. You must give people respect and earn respect. That you're kind and that your understanding does not mean that you're not firm. You can still be firm, respectful and kind, and still be the boss and be respected. Don't treat people anyhow and think, or when they come to you to give you a complaint or ask for a raise or something, instead of respectfully explaining why you can or cannot, you dismiss it, and you dismiss it disrespectfully. Don't do that to people.
It's part of self-development that Beecee spoke about. Self-development, even you mentioned it. I think you mentioned it during the break.
Yes, I said the employer needs to go for trainings themselves and you know, develop themselves as well.
Okay, are you speaking?
Yeah, so I wanted to say something about what Tope said. Tope said 100% on the employer.
We said no.
We said no.
We said no.
We said no. But you know, me, when I started my business, I won't say I didn't struggle. I struggled with it. But there are some employees that come. They will not give you their best, that first month, second month. But I'm telling you, from the third month, they may pick up. So if you are the type that, because most of us, especially we entrepreneurs, the first thing we look out for is, this month, this person has to deliver. We already have our goals, and if the person is not, it does not align to those things, we are now like, this person is not delivering, so the person has to leave or something. But we just have to be patient. Yeah. Some people come, they are slow, but they will get it, and once they pick up, they move. So that's outrightly sacking. That outright sack, every time maybe somebody comes and you just say you're going to sack the person because the person is not delivering, I don't think is the...
No, but I mentioned that was the information someone gave me to deal with a situation that was obviously wrong. By every business standard. That what the experience I had was an experience that was sackable. And there are, we have labor laws in Nigeria, you know, and we have standards. But for every contract, there is a clause of why you should be terminated and the justification for your termination. So it's not going to be like, oh, saying you should sack. When you say sack the person, it's a case of, I need to put out a strong message. If see what's happening in the Senate. I'm going somewhere. See what happened in the Senate. If we've had experiences where some senators have behaved, or some lawmakers, let me not say senators, both House of Rep and senators, some lawmakers have behaved dishonorably in the past, and they were not well dealt with. Like the issue was not nipped. They got away with it. So we have created a culture where lawmakers can disrespect the position they have and get away with it, and you're now wondering why you are going to have more of it. You will have much more of it, because whatever you permit will thrive. So you've permitted it. So that's why, as a boss, you must have that handbook
from the beginning.
You must have that system, and you can, even if you do it from the beginning, you can do a review. Because there was something my husband did this year. I did it like 2 years ago. I issued a new employment letter to everybody with new terms and conditions. When he did it this year, one person voluntarily resigned.
Because he does not.
Because she was like, this is more work. Even though there was more pay, she was like, no, she cannot do it. Yeah, you can go. This is the new terms of agreement. If it doesn't work for you, you please, with all due, because what you had before was my small business, where I did not know better, and I was just managing, I was learning. But now I have done some courses.
Everybody will evolve. So let's talk about it. Now that you know better, would you advise that as small as your business is, when you're employing someone, have a proper letter?
Yes.
No matter
detailed job description.
I
and terms and agreement of.
Yes, we do.
I do that even for PSF. You need to sign something. So I wanted to also add that I know that business thrives with competition, and because of that, employers will do whatever it takes to make sure that they maximize profits, pay people less, find a way to enter into the market. If you need to push people down, push people down. If you need to monopolize, and all of that. But I think we should start changing how we do business, right? Because I feel that the universe is abundant, and whatever you find in your hands to do, as long as you are diligently doing it and you're putting in the best that you're going to, into what you're doing, you will grow, and you would have a legacy product. You have a legacy business, right? As we are growing in the business, it's now time to start moving away from the hunger that drove you to start it in the first place. Like, what legacy business am I going to do? So one of the things that I identified in my business and recreating myself is to make sure that I give more, my business gives more in use value than what I take in cash value. So that if you get my product, you would always remember that this product was good to me. You will always, for instance, if you get my hair, you would always be able to use my hair for a very long, use your money, dash a family member will still use, and so I'm intentionally trying to create those products that would last, that would keep my memory or the brand in your mind for a very long time. And if that means that I have to reduce my gains, I will do that, so that at least it's affordable for you to be able to get it, and then it lasts you. So if we start putting our business in such a way that it becomes legacy, it now starts serving humanity, you will see that everything will gradually start aligning. And as we are putting the structures in place, the ones that will not align with your goals will fade out, and that's okay. I went for a CEO strategy meeting a few weeks back, and one of the things we talked about was entrepreneurs not liking the idea of training people and then they are leaving. So it was a major problem. I finished training you, I send you to courses, blah blah blah. Before you know, you have used the CV you built in my office to go and get a good job somewhere else. And I was like, for me, I say it differently. I know that it's painful because you have spent money. But I also see the fact that your story will not be complete tomorrow if you do not mention that you learned certain things and you were trained so and so place from here. Today I'm on TV, but every time I talk about where I worked before, I mention, though I don't mention the name of the school, but I mentioned that my growth actually started from working there. I left at the end of the day. But all the things I have learned so far has followed me to wherever. And I'm trying to be a good ambassador to the place, even though I am no longer there. I know how many referrals I've made to parents to send their children to that school because I knew what I gained, because I'm also a good person. So just do what you can as an entrepreneur. Make sure that you are serving humanity in your business. And this is also a call to those people who want to do fraudulent businesses, where you know that you're doing something like, let's say, skincare, and you're putting chemicals.
That one.
Because you want to make
that one is a topic for another day.
Yes.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue on the topic of how the employers can do better and how we're rounding off, but we'll conclude. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.